Bisexuality is something that we really don't talk about within the LGBTQI community itself, or even with our straight allies. You know, that's something where they sort of are very invisible a lot of times. You know, can you all talk to me about your experience dealing with people who identify as bisexual?
I actually have a friend that is bisexual. He's a really good friend of mine, and when he's dating a guy, he's around a lot more, but when he's dating a female, like, he just like disappears.
Why do you think that is?
I feel like he's more comfortable if he's with the female. You know, he starts hanging out with straight people a lot, and like he just disappears from the gay community. But if he's seeing a guy, you know, he's around a lot more. It's almost weird because like his attitude changes. But you know, we accept. You know, he is who he is. So we just, when he's around, he's around. When he's not, he's not.
I feel like bisexual people probably have it hard because they don't know where they fit in, and I feel like if you are into both sexes, that means you should fit in both sides, but they don't, honestly.
Well, it goes back to, I mean, having these intentional spaces. I mean, you look at like gay or lesbian bars, or, you know, straight bars, which I'd say are the majority of bars, right? But there are no like bi bars or bi spaces, right? I mean, so it really is important for like spaces like we're in today, the center on Halsted and other LGBT community centers, to, you know, not forget the B, which is obviously a really important part of that, and to have support groups, to have social activities and everything in between.
One of the things that has kind of been, I guess, a topic recently is how do we do more to be allies for the bi community? There's the term bi erasure, that whole part
what
of
is
the
it?
bi erasure.
Bi erasure.
Yeah, that they're being erased from the entire community, and ironically, they actually make up more than half of the entire LGBTQ community. So I think as a community, we need to do more to be allies for our bi folks, make sure that their identities are legitimate and their experiences are legitimate, because I think we have a lot of assumptions about bi folks that are still kind of permeating through society, and so it's important for us to kind of, again, just be allies and really make sure that we're increasing the visibility of these folks.
So sometimes we hear, I know for me as a gay man, you know, straight women will say, you think you ever come back? You know, you ever be straight again? You know what I mean? And I understand
that's just because you're so hot.
You know what? You know what? I appreciate you.
He's very hot. I was gonna say maybe after the show I was gonna.
He's taking.
He's taking. That's the only reason. But you know, the thing is that I always look at the intention behind that. I want to talk to you all about that, because a lot of times that's a way for our straight allies to feel comfortable and like saying, "Listen, I'm here. I'm open." Is that something appropriate for them to say, and how do you feel about that?
I mean, I get that it might come from a good space, but at the same time, it feels like you're forcing me into an identity that I don't want to identify as. So it would be great to find some other way to be supportive besides saying something like that.
What is the way that we feel that we can educate? Because this is most about education. You know, you have this stage and they're listening to you. What would you say?
I would say just don't assume. I think we take so much for granted in like how people present themselves and how we, you know, how we dress, how we act, and we just kind of think, oh, that person identifies as a man or a woman or as gay or as straight. But just ask me and just get to know me and talk to me, and then you'll know that I'm all about loving women. Like that is my is my jam. Like my girlfriend, like she is my world. So, and then once you get that, and then we can, you know, have friendly conversation.
So it was a really educational, like informative and wonderful environment. I hope that people out there learned as much as I did.
I was actually kind of curious, so you did learn a lot, but what motivated you in the first place to pursue doing a story like this?
Actually, I think it was my lack of information or education. I have always considered myself an ally of the LGBTQ community, and I wanted to be more of an ally. And in order to do that, like I had to know more, right? Yeah. And I think that also talking to some of the older generation, my parents, they were confused by all the terminology, and I was like, wouldn't it be great if we had a stage with people to talk about what, you know, some of the labels mean?
Mm-hmm. And there is a lot of terminology. I felt like watching that, my biggest takeaway was don't be afraid to ask.
Yes, I'm so glad that was the takeaway. Yeah. That's really it.
Yeah, well, it sounds like the Center on Halsted is a good place to do all that.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a very inclusive place.
They've got a list of scheduled events for Pride Month. Just visit their website, centeronhalsted.org, for more info.